Well, good morning, boys and girls. It's a bit of a rush this morning for some of us.
Whoa, that was a bit loud there, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? I was just realised how far away my mic was from where I was sitting at the last minute. Clunk, clunk, clunk.
You inhaling your lipstick just then.
Yeah. Well, I pushed it back to put my lippy on because I realised at the last minute I didn't have it on, which would have been a disaster.
Yes.
I have to say.
It would have been the end of the world.
Would have been. Look, I have to say I'm quite impressed.
Today's cup is yellow.
Yellow.
Girls.
Yes, and we've got the George shirt.
At the end of my coloured coffee cups from eBay. So eBay, if you are watching and listening, I would like some more colours because there's two other colours I'm missing.
Yeah. Oh, are there more colours? Wow. Okay.
Two more colours. There's the green and there is, what other colour do I have? Red. That's the one.
Well, look, eBay, if you're listening, green's sort of my signature colour, Grumpy Granny's signature colour. So, yeah, a green one would be good to start with. That would be nice. Thank you.
No, don't do it. Rob needs them, unfortunately. And, I do have my George shirt on because we're going to be talking about a very scary topic today, I guess. It's going to be probably the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Scary. You might just need to put your mic just a little bit closer, I think.
Or I could just turn it up.
Oh, you could just turn it up. Yeah, that'd work. Look, I have to say, though, I'm quite impressed with the stand. That's pretty impressive.
Well, the other one is from last week was from my photographing station. So, I don't want to take that away from that. So,
yeah, true.
It's a bit of a hassle to take it off, take it on, take it off, take it on. So, just having one sort of for this only is, a little bit easier, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yes,
that I don't take it away because Rob is lazy and that comes to that sort of stuff. So.
Yes, I totally understand. No, it is a pain in the ass when you've got it. Oh, pardon me. I know when I was when we first started doing the podcast, and I had to do it on the laptop every week because I didn't have a webcam on my main computer, and it was pain. Like just trying to reorganise the whole desk and get everything set up. So yeah, it's good that I don't have to do that. So,
because where I have it is it's currently on my packing station, and which is my packing station also works as well as my photographing station. So, a bit of core flutes or that corrugated plastic for the American folk here that I have there. And basically I have the stand next to or the camera on a tripod, and I just basically move it around when I need to, and it just folds up nicely in the corner when I'm not using it. So it is nicely packed away and it's nice and compact. So, when you do have, smaller spacing like I do have in this room, it's large, but it's still small at the same time. So, I got to work with the space I have.
Yeah, fair enough. And you've even said good morning in the chat.
I did, yes. I'm going to be first.
Yeah, and I said hello, boys and girls. Oh, Rach is here, our little cannibal from UK to PNG. How are things, Rach? You enjoying Rach? She wanted an Aussie nickname, so her name's Rachel, so we had to give her Rach, which would be typically Aussie.
I guess it would be typically Aussie. Hello, Mr. Octopus.
Oh, is he here, is he? Good morning, John Roberts. How are we this morning?
Morning, John.
You're up bright and early, considering we were up late last night. Oh, I'll tell you what, Rob, we must remember to tell the boys and girls about the wonderful game that we discovered, and I see Wendy's here as well, the wonderful game that we discovered last night in the Discord. And, look, fingers crossed, I'm hoping, but it doesn't sound good because we found Wendy, a bolo, doing this game on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm hoping that she gets a good result out of it. Good morning, Wendy. She says, good morning, everyone. So I'm hoping that you get a good result out of that. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I made a red velvet cake. Good morning. I made a cake, but I call it because I like red velvet cake. It's my favourite cake.
I haven't made a cake in a while, actually.
What's your favourite cake?
It would be a Black Forest torte.
But
the old version, because the new version they took the cherries out of it, so it's not as nice anymore.
Because they soak the cherries in alcohol. That's why.
That's the best
part. They used to do it. Good morning, Cindy. Another Chance Collection, Cindy Brown. How things?
Good morning, Cindy.
Hope all's well in Bendigo. Lisa, our little friend from the USA. Baubles, bling, needful things, but AGG and gang, glad to see it. Working and listening as you walk around. Oh, where are you walking around? Oh, interesting. His Highness, the disgruntled octopus, humans.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to have a little discussion, you and I, Mr. Octopus.
Oh,
We've got a couple of things we need to discuss later.
it's going to get the harpoon gun out, Mr. Octopus. So
scares
best
up him.
Mm.
Lisa says, hey there, Octo. And Octo says, hey, Lisa, hope you're well. Yes. And Rach says, all good here, thanks. Good to see you back. Yes. All back. Yes, look, I haven't been doing any videos this week because I'm just at the tail end of stuff getting over a bad bout of well, we didn't actually have any thunderstorms, but thunderstorm asthma, for want of a better word. And I'm just right on the tail end of it. So yeah. And Rob's put the link for the Discord. Anyone that's not a member of the Discord, come and join us. And if you are a member of the Discord, but you don't come into the voice and video room, you don't have to put your cameras on. We don't most of the time. And look, we have really good time in there. We chat, we get a little bit of work done, and we learn things, do we not, Rob?
I mean, I guess we learn what's on Facebook Marketplace. That's,
Well, we do learn other things than that. But yeah, last night we did learn some things that we could find on the Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
Lisa says, thank you, Octo, mate, keeping my chin up and sadly behaving. Oh, no, we can't have that. No. Octo says, morning, Rachel. How's Perth? Well, she's in Fremantle, Octo.
Fremantle.
Not Perth.
Fremantle is beautiful. I'm sure it's probably like Mandurah at the moment. It's lovely. There's a bit of cloud at the moment. It's beautiful weather. Beautiful weather to go for a walk at 7 o'clock in the morning. We could just, end it now and just toddle off, couldn't we?
Yes, well, yeah. Because, Western Australia at the moment is 3 hours difference to Victoria, where I am. So 3 hours earlier. So it's 7 o'clock where you are and 10 o'clock where I am, because we're on daylight savings time, which doesn't end for a bit longer. Sorry about that.
Soon, hopefully, because then I can have a sleep in.
Yes, you will. Lisa says, just an ADHD listing, walking around the house, stay on task. Yes, we are. We all know how that, well, a lot of us know how that goes. So Rach says, Perth is great now. It's cooled down a bit. Yeah. Look, it has cooled down substantially here this morning, I have to say. But the trouble is there's a lot of humidity in the air because we've got a little bit of rain. But hopefully, if the weather doesn't heat up today, which is not supposed to get too hot, it will not be too bad.
Well, we suffered through that for the last month and a half, 2 months almost, wouldn't we, Rach? So, at least it's someone else's turn.
I've had my turn. I've had my few 40-degree days, thank you. No more.
Some more.
No. Good morning, Liz. Good morning. She says, good morning, everyone. I can't stay long, just getting ready to go out. Excellent. Well, I hope you're going out for a good time. Not a bad time.
Breakfast.
Yes. I'm just thinking your mic's just not. You might need
to. Better?
Yeah, either that or you might need to put it just a little bit closer.
Don't want to
think.
Closer.
I don't know.
A bit closer. Is that a bit better for you?
Oh, that's it. Yes.
Is that better for everyone in the chat as well?
Is that everyone better? Is that happy? Yes. Lisa says it's 7 a.m. there too, where she is, or is that 7 p.m.? No, 7 a.m. it must be. No, 7 p.m. Yeah. Wendy says, yesterday in the Discord was a prime example of the neurodiversity at its best. Indeed it was. Indeed it was.
That would put you on the East Coast then, from memory?
Yes.
Yes.
Octo says, I'm excited. I haven't been yelled at in a long time. Well, at least a week, I suppose. Lisa says, sounds intriguing, Wendy. Yes. Octo is telling us 7 p.m. Yes. So what will we go with first, do you think? We'll do the fun thing first with our game that we learnt on Facebook, or should we do the hard stuff first?
Let's go for the hard stuff first. Let's get right into it. Because, I'm wearing so we got to talk scary and, all that fun sort of stuff. So I guess probably one of the first things I want to bring up is the winter update, which I'm sure that our American friends would have seen.
Is it the winter update for them though?
Yes, it's the winter update for them. Well, it's not winter for us, is it?
No, it's not.
No. So the winter update for them, they recently received the same sort of changes that we got. So, for example, our draft listings stay for 75 days now. For us in Australia, I don't know if it's the same for you guys as well, but we can have up to 5,000 draft listings, which is awesome, or up to 250 on mobile. So that is beautiful.
Excellent.
Someone who bulk lists myself, not me, but other people that do it for me, that it is a great thing for us to have that. You do have that sort of buffer there of the 5,000 bulk listings you can have there sitting in your draft. So that is beautiful change. So thank you very much for that, eBay. And then probably one of the other things is there was a fee increase for eBay US for the order fee. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but coming up is going to be the changing the 30-cent fee for orders over $25, including shipping and taxes, for the US customers is going to be going up from 30 cents to 40 cents. Any orders underneath that $25 US, including shipping and taxes for US sellers, is going to be staying at that 30 cents there. So that's a small change, very small change, I guess, but it's just, the increased costs of operating eBay, of course, which means they have to try and recoup those funds somewhere. And these sort of things do happen from time to time. I guess it's a better thing than having your final value fees going up.
Very much so. I agree.
For orders over $25, for a 10-cent increase, it shouldn't be too bad, I guess. It's very, from what I've seen from the reaction of people from the US, because I am in some groups as well overseas, that they're all quite happy that it hasn't gone to lower value sort of sales as well. So that's at least a good thing that eBay are listening for that regards there.
Yeah, true.
Another update they've done was for us here in Australia is the automated offers that are going out.
And what a wonderful thing that is, isn't it, Rob? We've given it a trial. It's fantastic.
I'm sensing sarcasm. Yeah.
Oh, big time. Yep.
I think it's not working how I want it to work. I think that the idea is awesome because it makes my life a lot easier where I'm not having to think about that sort of step in my business. Having to constantly check and go in to see if I need to send offers or not to people, it can get kind of tedious in a way. So having this sort of feature up for us is really, really good, that we can, have another thing that's sort of automated to the side for us and we can go from there. It would be nice if we had a few more features on there, a few more controls, or we had a bit more information. So
yeah,
what I'm finding is that I'm still having to send off offers manually because offers aren't being sent in a timely manner. So I think that is probably one of the disappointing aspects of the feature. I think to counteract that would be, because when you have an offer, you want to try and catch a customer as soon as possible. If it's going to be a impulse purchase or if it's, they're looking around, you don't want to have that customer go to another seller and buy something then, or completely change their mind and say, oh, actually, I don't need a crocheted, octopus kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you try and want to get that customer as soon as you can. So it would be good that if you had the feature available that, you could send an offer, within 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour of that person, clicking and getting that interest on the listing, that you could then send the offer out automatically after a certain period of time.
Yes.
That would be an awesome sort of feature to add to that. But not just that, it would be great to have some information from eBay that told us exactly how the automated offers actually works.
I quite agree, because I found that when I set mine up, even I'd set mine up mid-afternoon, well, even by the next morning, it hadn't actually sent any offers out. And I would have envisaged that overnight would be my ideal time when I'm not active that would be the ideal time for it to be working. So, I guess for me, if they were going to ask me, was there something they could improve on, it would be to allow us a little bit of control over, like, say, okay, during these hours, I want it to be peak. I want you to be like sending more, active offers. I don't know how that would work, but if that was, in an ideal world.
If you had the feature of, sending offers in bulk at a certain time per day, or you could have the option to send it off, after, 10, 15, 30 minutes of a person going onto your listing, having the choice between those two options, or just letting eBay control it themselves as well.
Yeah, because I'm not liking eBay controlling it themselves myself. So Rach wants to know, while we're going, are there certain times you all go into the voice Discord room then?
I mean, it's sort of
Whenever.
random,
Yeah.
Yesterday I was there in the morning when I was going out on my thrift run, so that was quite fun. I only had Gigi in there, so Leanne was there with me. That was going around. Because I usually go thrifting on my Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Those are my usual thrifting days, and the rest of the time I go on Facebook Marketplace and have a look on there. So I was on there yesterday, going around and doing that, but I had no one there with us.
I'm generally not there in the morning, because in the mornings when I mainly do get my listings done and all my posts and all, the stuff that I have to get done, I try to get that done before I go in. But afternoons is usually someone about, and then evenings is usually someone about too. Like, we do have a bit of fun.
Evenings Australia time, so usually around. So for us, Rach, it would be around probably 5 p.m. onwards through to about sometimes 8, 9 o'clock at night for us in Perth. So East Coast at the moment, that's probably looking at 7 to 8 o'clock in the evening through till midnight. And there's a night owl. She likes to stay up and doesn't like going out in the morning in the day because she might burn in the sun. Doesn't like garlic.
Putting my little cross up with my fingers there. So look, if you ever see anyone in any of the rooms, just pop in, because sometimes there'll be just one person in there and they're just hanging, waiting to see if someone else comes in, and I will quite often do that. And I will have my mic on mute to start with, because I'm probably listening to something else that you don't want to hear if you go in there. But you just go in there and I'll usually see you, or make a noise and I will hear you. So this is just saying, yes, Rob, Ohio. Oh, on the banks of the old Ohio. Pardon me. Yes, very famous song here, as we would have been discussing. Oh, Octo wants to know, what's a draft?
Well, a draft is your first attempt. So, for example, a draft, when you're drafting a letter to a customer, is where you put all the lovely words that you actually really want to say, and then copy and paste it into ChatGPT to make it a little bit nicer.
Yes, that was one thing we discussed last night too, wasn't it? Yes, what a joy that is. And we have AA, who is here from the UK, where it is good night over there. Good to have you with us. Liz says, unfortunately not. Follow-up test from the doctor. Hope that goes well for you, Liz. However, she does get to stop at Dan's on the way home. She's got a gift card the other day, and he's right next door. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? The doctor's right next door to Dan Murphy's.
That's very efficient. Very efficient.
Yeah, so she said, regardless of the news of the doctor, the day will end fine.
See, my Dan's is, it's actually that way for me. But, this weekend it's going to be nice and busy down here in Mandurah. So here in Perth, if you are in Perth, we do have the Mandurah Crab Festival, which is a big sort of seafood festival that we do have here. That, giving a little bit of a shameless plug. But, we've got some carnival rides, a lot of food. Get about an extra 120,000 people coming into the town over the weekend. So it's going to be busy. I will be staying inside and away from everyone else and people.
I hear you're going to have some TV stars over there too.
Yeah, going to have some TV stars. The Great Outdoors. That's Better Homes and Gardens.
Gardens.
They cancelled the other one, didn't they?
Hello, Mr. Kookaburra, unwanted but needed. Good morning. You on your lunch break, I'm presuming, as usual. And poof, vampire, says Lisa. Yes, exactly. Octo wants to know, did my birthday present arrive yet? No, not yet. Haven't been to the post office today, though. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Look, I'm quite skeptical as to whether he's actually posted it, but we will see. Oh, because if he does, your camera's gone off, Rob. So if it does arrive, I will do an unboxing in the Discord. Did you hear me that your camera's gone off, Rob? Hello? Yes, good.
Yes.
Good. Vintage Bonnie, hello, Gigi. This is my new co-host, Rob, because, I was deserted by the Octopus and Blake, so I decided to keep Thursday mornings going, and, we kind of got Rob. Conned Rob, pressured Rob.
It wasn't a choice.
Something like that. Rach says, I'll have to start hanging around in there then. Yes, you should, because amazing what you will learn. And it's fun. It makes it, it makes it fun. Lisa's saying, howdy to Vonnie. Vonnie's saying, just listening and watching. Good. Well done. Good to see someone's working. AA wants to know, what is this live about? This live's about anything and everything. Look, pretty much based around reselling, but whatever we happen to start talking about, really, isn't it?
Cutlery, pillowcases full of cutlery, more cutlery, wheelchair knives.
Cutlery. I keep look, I'm going to surprise you one day.
We're going to throw it out, take it to the scrappers.
There could be a lot of silver in there for all I know,
Sure, and there could be a lot of scrap metal. So I guess today we wanted to talk about promoted listings. And also
before we do that, though, Octo says for me to do a fake unboxing to make it look better than he packed it.
Is that when she comes out of her coffin?
Oh, yeah, possibly. Yeah, Lisa says bloody deserters, string them up, GG. I agree. Make some tasty calamari. Yeah. Rightio. Okay, let's talk now about
what are we talking about? Oh, that's right. Promoted list. I was just talking about it, wasn't I?
Yes. And I cut you off. So,
I wasn't really listening to you, so oops. Yeah, promoted listings, eBay fees, final value fees is today's topic. So that's why I'm wearing the Jaws shirt, because it's a scary topic that everyone either doesn't really fully understand, or is frightened about, or is quite vocal about this topic. That some people people think that sometimes eBay will gouge us on fees and charges and this and that, and I think the fees that we pay on eBay, final value fees, are very fair. I think that promoted listings is a great tool to be able to use to get yourself above the crowd. I do sell in a very heavy and saturated category where I am competing for my main event of media. I've got 16,000 other sellers that I'm competing against, and I know with Leanne being the bookseller, you have 30,000 other sellers in Australia that you're competing with. So it is a very crowded marketplace.
Yep.
There are 40,000 sellers Australia-wide on eBay. So, it's for us to be able to be competitive in the marketplace. You've got to be able to, get your listings number one. So, and that's where your sales will come from, is getting your listings right up the very top and right at the,
because people don't scroll down that far. Like people that are buying, honestly, don't scroll down that far.
No.
And that's the thing. So you need to be up there to a certain extent. And it depends on the category, doesn't it, Rob? Because, there are some categories where you really don't need to promote at all or very little. Now, one example would be if you are selling religious stuff, like as in religious books, CDs, that type of stuff, and you are listing it in the religious category, which, by the way, I don't, because I found it doesn't sell very well in there. But if you are, you cannot promote in that category anyway. They don't allow you to promote in that category. So if you want just your, if you're selling Bibles or, rosary beads or something, put them, there are other categories you can sneak them into.
Yes.
I do have to say.
It's not against, it is against eBay policy putting your item in the wrong category, but we won't talk about that one today, will we?
No. Well, not necessarily the wrong category, because, because sometimes if it's a vintage or a collectible item,
I guess
it can, sneak in there. And it's really only you can't really say putting Bibles in the books is the wrong category, really, because it's still a book.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about one of my stories. So previous to selling, media, I used to sell in a very, very aggressively competitive marketplace of phone accessories and Apple Watch bands, for example. So the marketplace for that, even though there aren't that many sellers, it's a very aggressively competitive marketplace because you are competing against sellers from China, and it is a very low cost of goods, but you are paying a lot for your promoted listing. So when I was selling Apple Watch bands, I was very dynamic in my promoted listing rates throughout the day. It was trying to get the difference from number 1 to number 2 sales wise was about 90% in sales.
Wow.
So, if you were number 1, you'd sell about 100. If you were number 2, you're only selling about 10 items from that listing. So it was a very, very aggressive, dynamic promoted listing rate. And for that category, I was promoting my items at around the 45 to 50% promoted listing rate. So, you were paying a lot to get yourself up there, but you needed to be up there to get your sales and to get yourself moving. So, yeah, it is. It is a fun topic to talk about, that promoted listing sort of thing, that, it is sometimes expensive in a category that is very aggressive that you are competing against. So, it's one of those things that you got to look at, when you are looking at starting up your business on eBay or sourcing new products. You really got to look at creating a draft listing, having a look what the estimated promoted listing rate is. And sometimes in a category, it might not be the actual proper promoted listing rate that they're actually showing you. It might be higher, it might be lower. So
yeah. I always found there was quite a disparity between when you would go in to say the now vanished quality listing report, and they would give you, the figures of what the top 10%, top 10% was promoting at, and what the bottom 10% were promoting at, against what they were recommending the rate was. Because that recommended rate was always several percent higher. So, yeah. Sorry. So Unwanted But Needed wants to know, how is everyone going for sales in March? We'll talk about that shortly after we've done the promoted listings. But Octo says, let's talk about my feelings. I don't have any. Next subject.
Well, that was an easy topic, wasn't it?
It was. So, Rach says, I had an open return and that definitely affected my listings. Finally was able to close it, so hopefully sales will start rolling in again soon. Yeah, good. And Octo says, I removed my competition, which I will say his idea of removing his competition is A, promotions, and B, saturating the market with that particular item.
Well, yeah, I just entered into Octo's space of Skylanders myself in my new store. So, I did flood the market with an extra 100 Skylanders into the, realm of life. So that was quite fun, and trying to sell them off nice and cheap, and fingers crossed that goes well. So I bought a few items in the new store, which is really good. No feedback yet, of course, which is a little bit, frustrating. So it's a zero feedback store. But, it's one of those things you got to deal with in life. So it's fun.
Well, maybe could we roll up a few members in the Discord to buy items, then ask you to cancel them, and then
Well,
still leave
that
feedback.
that would be against eBay policy of
Oh,
feedback manipulation, shill bidding, user agreements, just a couple policies that
okay.
you're breaking there.
Hmm.
Policy, who cares about them? So,
Yeah.
I want to talk about, comparing promoted listing rates to Google ads. So if you were to start your own store, for example, and the differences in pricing. So, for
Hmm.
example, I know, Leanne, you are a clothing seller. And if you are selling a pair of jeans, would you say that your average sort of promoted listing rate would be around sort of 5 to 10%, around that sort of mark?
In there, yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
So the great thing with promoted listing standard is that you're only paying once the item sells.
Yes.
So that means that once someone clicks on your promoted listing, if they purchase the item in the next 30 days, then you get charged that promoted listing fee for the sale. But your ads are essentially up for free, and you only pay for that advertising once your item sells.
Yes.
Compared to something like Google AdSense, now I've gotten some figures here in front of me that, the average cost per click for the apparel industry is 69 cents. Now, that might not sound
Ooh.
a lot, but when you have average conversion rate in the apparel industry is 2.6%, then the margins, or basically the cost per sale, is going to be around the $26 mark. So it is a
Wow.
huge difference that if you have your own store and you're trying to get people into your store to buy things, and you are seeing a conversion rate of 2.6% of those people who click through your ad on Google Ads, which you have to pay for every single click. I mean,
Hmm.
Google do have other ads that are available that you pay per acquisition, of course, which is something different. But we're talking about the cost per click that you're paying a lot more compared to eBay with your promoted listing standard in
Hmm.
that regards, because when you're paying, say for example, 10% on a $25 sale, you're only paying $2.50. But if you're trying to sell that $25 item through Google, through your own sort of Shopify store, you're looking at costs of around $26. So
Yeah.
that completely eats up all of your margin. It's basically costing you more to sell your item on a platform like Shopify compared to what it would be that you're trying to sell it on eBay with promoted listing. So for me, I know this is probably going to be controversial, but I think that promoted listing rates are great for me as a seller. They're a great tool. I actively use them in my listings and in my items because I find them to be a good value for money for me.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go too high, of course. You don't want to completely go ballistic crazy.
Yeah.
Because that can be sometimes detrimental that, your item is appearing, 7 million times, but you're only getting 3 people click through to it. That completely, it goes through your conversion rate as well as your click-through rate. So those are your important KPIs as well on eBay that, your click-through rate and your conversion rate are very important statistics and stats that you have in your eBay store that you've got to always be mindful of as well.
Mm.
And it's a good indicator as well of how your items and how your listings are.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. Because look, there are other reasons. There are other ways of getting your listing to go up higher in the search results, and we all know those what they are. You've got to have a good title, you've got to have good photos. All those things that eBay wants you to do will help get your item higher. But then there gets to a point where the only way it is going to get higher is through the promoted listings, because otherwise there are going to be people that are paying a higher promoted listing above what you are
Yes.
paying, or if you
Yes.
aren't. Yeah.
Yes. So those, are really important things you got to really look at in your eBay store is your advertising costs. And, you've got to really make sure that you're on the ball to make sure that these things are sort of working well for you. And you don't want to be paying for something that is not working for you. And you don't want to be overpaying, of course, but, it's one of those important things that you do have in your store and some of the important tools that you have that go with the advertising suite of products and services that eBay offer us that we can use to increase our sales.
Yeah. So Lisa says, I don't need to promote any discontinued perfumes or unique vintage jewelry. Those sell fast without help, as long as the price is competitive. That's the key there. Exactly. Yeah. So, and it's working out whatever category you're selling in, whether it is, flatware or whether it's books or whether it's jeans, it's working out where you're sitting with that and what's the best way to, is promoted listings or increasing them from what you're on now, if you're doing them or not, is that going to help you? Because if some of the other stuff's lacking, it's not really going to help.
Absolutely. So, when you have unique items or discontinued items like you have, that's, you don't really need to promote them because people are actively looking and there's not much out there in the marketplace. So that's a great thing for you, that you have those sort of really unique items compared to, for example, with me with DVDs and CDs. There are, if you're looking at a NCIS season 2, for example, there's 168 different items out in the marketplace, all trying to sell the same NCIS season 2 that you're competing with, and you want to be number one to be able to get that sale. You don't always have to be the cheapest either. That's the other fun thing as well. One of the things that me and Leanne were talking about yesterday while planning for this is that, sometimes increasing your promoted listing rate by 1% means that you're not having to reduce the price down of your item by, $5 or $10 sometimes, and just increasing it by that 1%. So, for example, if you have a $30 item, 1% on $30 is only 30 cents. While if you were to reduce the price down by $5, well, that's $5. So that's a $4 difference there. So,
and I think that's something that is something people really need to consider, because, from discussions I've had with different people, they'll quite often say that their list, but I've got my price listed as cheap, I'm cheaper than everyone else. But they're still not necessarily getting the sale. And, is it best to have it at that lowest price, or are people looking at it and saying, well, what's wrong with that one because it's priced so low? And then they look up and see, like, there's someone that's higher up, they've got to pay a couple of dollars more, but perhaps that listing looks more enticing with photos, or the information in there's better, and they think, that person's got more feedback, so they think, well, I'm going to pay the couple of dollars more and go with that particular seller. So there are other issues to look at to see whether, putting your item at the cheapest price is not always, going to be the best way to go. And, as we said, like, if there could be a difference between the highest price and the lowest price, say on a pair of jeans, that could easily be $10 or more on exactly the same pair of jeans. So you don't have to be the highest, you don't have to be the lowest.
No, exactly. You want to be in that, obviously you want to be in that lovely sweet spot, of course, but you don't have to be the highest, you don't have to be the lowest. You just want to make sure that you are ranking high up in the lists of search results, and that's the biggest, that's the biggest challenge to our sellers, is getting to number one, getting the top sort of 5 to 10 sort of search results, because anything other than that, people don't go to page 2. It's the same as when you go to Google. You don't go to page 2. You're going to 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of search results, and you're going through that. It's the same as eBay as well. People don't go through to page 2. It's just one of those, unless unless it's something that people are maybe browsing, or it's people have been listing incorrectly, and the wrong items have been coming up for 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of thing. People in general don't like doing searching. They don't like choices. They want to stick with what's eye level right there in front of me.
I have a tendency to think most people that go to page 2 and onwards are probably us. When we're comping or researching. Wendy says that you are such a stickler for the rules. We do know this.
Yes, rules are rules. Rules are there.
Rules are the rules. Lisa says, now clothes have to be promoted, and competitive clothing is ruthless. It is very ruthless. And, even in the difference between the different clothing categories. So because at the moment we don't have the quality listing report, it's hard to say exactly. But I know, for example, the amount there's, a certain amount of men's jeans sellers, right? Which is a big number. There are a lot of men's jeans sellers, but there are 3 times as many women's jeans sellers.
Yes.
So even doing which, a lot of my, I'm probably going to say at the moment 2/3 of my jeans are women's, just because that's what I've been able to source. Women's jeans. So again, I've got even more competition in that.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Unwanted but needed says, and also your feedback helps also. Yeah, it does. In those situations, it really does. If that person's looking at, pardon me, if your result comes up as number 4, and as I said, and yours, because yours is the lowest price, and there's $5 difference between your price and between, let's just mean Rob as an example, my price and Rob's price. But then they look at Rob's and see he's got, maybe I've got 23 feedback. Rob's got, 1,495 feedback, which I no doubt you've got a lot more than that, but I'm just using that as an example.
Well, it depends on what store you're looking at. One's got absolutely 0 feedback. So
yeah,
I really have to in that new store is try and buy some cheap items to get that feedback up. And it's one of those things you've got to do, unfortunately. It's,
Yeah, because hard to get the feedback cranking, isn't it, at the start?
It is, yeah. So only, for example, with us, our numbers is about 30% of people leave feedback in the main store. So, you really got to, we got the thank you cards. We got, we appreciate your feedback. We put that in all our packages, of course. But in the new store, being a very brand new store, I think it's going to be very difficult to try and get that feedback even organically. I think probably going to looking at a feedback rating of maybe 10 to 15% to starting off with. So, it's trying to build it up as soon as possible. So the one thing you can do for that is going into stores and then just buying some cheap stuff, basically, $2 to $3 items you can find where feedback is left automatically. Thanks for shopping at XYZ store, and you get that in your profile, and it looks better to a customer than if it were just 0.
Yeah, very true, very true. Yeah. So if anyone in the chat wants to tell us, do you promote or not promote? That would be interesting. Now, the other thing on promotions too, because of course there are several ways to do it. We're going to ignore the advanced promoted listings this week because that's a whole different topic. So we'll ignore that one this week. But you can go dynamic or you can go fixed rate.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on that?
So I've tried both. I think that with the dynamic, you lose a bit of control over it. And I've done it before where I wasn't seeing as many sales, and you have your sort of rating or your number a little bit higher, but you're still not getting the sales. Where when I've gone to a static sort of system where I choose a number and it's permanently there, then I find I get more sales that way because I know that my number is going to be always at this number that I'm promoting at, and so that my item will kind of be there when I want it to be. It's not just maybe at number 5 on the search results, or it might be at the very bottom kind of thing, because eBay aren't really promoting it that much. So I like to have that control there in my business, that I can sort of move it around if I don't need to. Sometimes you might look at your numbers and you might think, okay, I might need to put this up a little bit, or it's fine where it is, might need to put it down maybe. It comes down to that little bit of sixth sense sort of feeling as to how your sales are going.
Yeah. And look, I do. I tweak around with mine a fair bit and change them. I've got mine set up so that they're automatic in the fact that when I list in certain categories, it will automatically go into that particular promoted amount, which is good because then I don't have to do each one individually. I find that quite time saving. But then I can tweak the whole category as a whole, whether I decide to go up and down or
Absolutely.
what I do there. So unwanted but needed says I promote.
Okay.
Oh, look, we have Adam in the house. Good morning, Adam. Looks along with
Good
stuff.
morning, Adam.
Oh, look, Rob. Lisa's got a compliment for you. She says, I've never said it before, but I love listening to Rob's voice. It keeps my attention for instruction, like Kevin the Commonwealth Picker. Both easy listening teachers. There you go.
Thank you very much there.
He has got a very nice, silken, smooth voice, I say.
Well, the voice used to be a bit of a side project, and he used to do some ads. So, face for radio.
Very good. Very good. So what else is there anything else we need to cover with promoted listings? Adam says, good morning, Granny. Always glad to see you. Thank you, Adam. Have you said hello to Rob yet? Better.
Yes.
Wendy says, I tweak promotions. Some are dynamic, some are a certain percentage, always tweaking.
Yeah, absolutely. So you always want to be on top of your store. You always when you're looking at your figures and your numbers. I mean, you're not looking at it, sort of, every 5 minutes kind of thing, but you want to keep on top of it. You want to make sure that you are making sure you're in the right place and that your items are being shown to the right people. And that's just, simple business that, for example, if you have a brick and mortar store, you want to make sure that the signage at the front of your store is looking nice and pretty. And, if you need to buy, ad space on a billboard, for example, you can do that as well. And you sort of gauge your sort of customer base because of those, sort of advertisements that you're doing out there. That, if the campaign is working, fantastic. If it's not working, then maybe we can tweak the campaign, maybe we can change it, put it in different areas, just to sort of make it work for you instead of you having to work for it.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one thing we've always said, like Octo and Blake and myself, even in the past, have agreed on this one, that, the cost, we talk about the cost of selling on eBay, and look, it's up to you how far you promote and how much you spend on promotions, but you have to put it in that realistic thing that if we had a brick and mortar store paying power, electricity, ads, whether that's to print out flyers to go and hand around, then you've got to pay someone to go and deliver the flyers, like there's so many things involved in having a brick and mortar store that have this worldwide audience that we do have.
Yes.
And pay what we're paying. It's, it's a cost of doing business.
Yes.
John Roberts says he promotes. Very good, John Roberts.
Good.
John Roberts, I have to say, the king of Mills and Boone, the king of romance he is. Yes. Yes. Good morning, Bax.
Yet, though, unfortunately.
Sorry?
He hasn't done a bedtime reading for us yet in the Discord, unfortunately.
No, we're waiting, aren't we?
We're waiting, John. I did my 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes, so it's time, John.
Yes.
It is time. Bax is here. Good morning, Bax. He says, morning all. If I promote, it depends on what I'm selling. I know it's rare and not many listed. I do not promote it as it will sell on its own. Correctamundo.
Exactly what Cindy was saying before with the perfume bottles, that, if it's something that, is no longer in production sort of perfume, then you don't really need to do anything for it because it will sell itself because people are out there looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Adam says, I only promote my multiple quantity listings.
Okay.
Yeah. And look, I think the big takeaway is, and I probably do spend more on promotions than I need to because, look, some of my book, well, what I say some, quite a few of my books that I sell are older books, they're rarer books. I'm the only person selling them. And I probably don't need to promote those at all, but from a work perspective and an overall to get things done easier perspective, I have all my books on the same promotion. So, yeah, I mean, yes, so there are the odd ones that I don't need to because, and the ones because you list them, they're gone in 24 hours. So know it's a rare, it's good. But see, sometimes, even though I'm the only one with that book listed, it's not until I sell it within 24 hours that I actually realise that it is that one that people are after that quickly, because otherwise it might sit there waiting for the right buyer, and that could take 9 months, 12. Actually, I sold one the other day and I'd had it in my store for 592 days.
Yeah. Well, I sold a DVD set this morning. Transformers season 1, 2, 3, 4, region 1 today. I've had that in my store
Oh,
for almost a year and a half, 2 years, and it finally sold.
wow.
I'm happy about that one.
Very
Oh,
good.
I'd
Oh,
had it
so Rob.
previously, but I didn't pay for it.
Ah,
So it's one of those ones. So yeah,
yeah. It's good to
finally
get
sold.
those ones out the door.
It's all packed up. It's going somewhere in Perth. So thank you to
Ah.
whoever bought it. Much appreciated. It's out my store.
Oh, do you want to tell us a little bit about your haul yesterday? I have to say, we got a bit excited. Hey, how did you go with your Facebook listing?
I've had 7 people click on it.
Ooh.
No,
Good start.
one of my lovely thrift stores I go to had a really nice, looked like someone's personal collection of some Bob Dylan stuff that came in. So
Oh, camera's gone.
Oh no, what a
So
shame.
for those wondering why Rob's camera keeps switching off, because he's using a DSLR camera, it and I still can't see you.
Yes, no.
You can only have it turned on for technically, no, I still can't see it. Technically for 29 minutes and 59 seconds. Oh, there we go. Now you're back.
So under EU law and tax regulations, DSLR cameras and video cameras are completely different things. Video cameras get taxed at a different rate, of course, which is a higher tax rate compared to DSLR cameras because the EU is fun like that. So to combat that, your video on a DSLR camera will only go for 29 minutes and 59 seconds. Fun.
Yep.
So
Good-o.
hopefully next week it should be fixed. If not, then I might just pop out after 30 minutes and go, oh, sorry.
Don't leave me hanging. Bax says, I don't want to sound like it's all about me, but it is. Is there any chance of starting this live at 10:30 so I can make it in time? I'm pretty sure Rob said he wanted an extra 30 minutes sleep in.
Well, next week for me, because that's when daylight saving ends, isn't it? I don't know. I can't remember, but pretty sure I get to sleep in next week.
Oh, does it end next week? Is it next week it ends? I'll have to find out for sure. I'm not sure whether it is next week. We will find out. But yeah, look, what's everybody think? How's everybody feel about a 10:30 start? Australian Standard Eastern Time. Australian Eastern Standard Time.
7th of April, so no, not yet. I'm not.
Oh, yeah, no, not yet.
Yeah. Unlucky.
Oh, look, Bax, of course it would be all about you. We love you. So, you know, we would be willing to. Yeah. Octo says April it ends.
Because, you know, everything's different. Brisbane doesn't have it, but New South Wales does. In the US, it's finished, and here in Australia, it's still going. It's great. Love it. Everyone's, you know, on different times just for fun.
Oh, yeah. Nightmare. And if you're ever trying to work out when someone's, you know, I was in a group that did Zoom calls and, you know, trying to work out when they were doing it. And one person was in this state. I had no idea. And I'm hopeless at geography. Octo reckons we should run it at 3 p.m. on a Sunday. Yeah, thanks.
3 a.m. on a Sunday? Do that.
Oh, 3 p.m. Hey, look, we thought we'd leave that slot open for you.
Yeah.
Adam says, Queensland don't have it as it confuses the cows.
Yes, we don't have it because it might fade the curtains.
Bax says, the only reason for me is school drop-off and mail out, then race home. It makes it hard to heckle you.
Oh,
no. Scott Garvin, welcome. Good to have you in. He says, it's time. It's great any time. Offsider is better looking than that sea creature. Well, it wouldn't be hard, would it, even with the jaws? So I do have to tell a funny story about that. So my daughter rang me yesterday and she was killing herself laughing because her son Wyatt, which a few of you would have seen from time to time on, you know, my videos, and so he wanted to watch the Octopus on TV. And so Brittany put on a animated sea creature thing and he shook his head and he goes, no, mummy, real octopus. So she thought, oh, okay. So she went and found some sort of wildlife real sea creature thing with an octopus in it. And he was getting a bit angry by then. He's going, "No, Mummy, no, real octopus at Anchie's place." And he calls me Anchie. We won't get into that because we don't know why, but he does. Real octopus, Anchie's place. And of course, he's seen Octo on screen with me at Angie's place, so he thinks that's the real octopus.
Yeah.
God love him.
Oh.
So yeah, don't know what we'll do, how we'll get him to convince that other octopuses aren't real, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Octo should make a little video for kids, and
Yeah.
or maybe I could actually just take, because I mean, well, it took me a while to work out. I could actually make a video of him saying anything because his mouth doesn't move, and so I could just have the video, and then I could do a voiceover.
I don't think your voice matches his some reason.
Well, maybe I could do a cut and paste from the voice from audio. That's always possible.
Like one of those ransom notes that has all the letters cut out of the magazine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Hello, this is the octopus. Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure.
Wendy says he's got such a bubbly personality for kids too. Oh yeah. So bubbly. Yeah. I do have to say, Wyatt does love scary things. So his favourite thing when you go there is he'll say "woo," which means he wants to watch something scary. So yeah, he is neurodiverse, I have to say, and he does have some speech delays. So his way of communicating with us can be very interesting at times. Octo says I can teach them how to swear. Yeah, that would be great. I'm sure Brittany would love that. Oh, we did talk about that last night too, didn't we? In the Discord, swearing, teaching our kids not to swear.
I wasn't there for that.
Weren't you?
No, too busy.
Yeah, it was when I was saying I growl at my children for swearing, even though I listen to Judder and other people that swear a lot.
Well, I guess I did leave you guys yesterday and did some more shelving here, which is always fun. It's my favourite pastime, is putting up these beautiful Bunnings shelves and buying new Bunnings shelves. So, John, you're in a job for life because Rob keeps buying them.
And look, I do have to say, we have one of our so in the Discord, when you go in there, there's all different sections you can go into, and there's lots of information in there for people. Like, if you want to know about how people do their setups, and do their skewing and stuff, you can go into the skew section. And people have got photos in there, and we do have to say we have had several people post when they've put up new shelving units, and we all ooh and ah over these wonderful, lovely new shelving units. It's a bit of a
It's like IKEA when you build something from it. It's that sense of achievement that I beat you, you silly flat pack. I got you kind of thing. So, it's, a great achievement to have, when you finish building one of these things, because, sometimes they can be uncooperative and difficult to use. Yeah.
And I'd always tell anyone, buy a rubber mallet before you even start. Although I will admit, my first lot of those that I did build, I did have a rubber mallet, but I couldn't find it. As it turned out, Wyatt had taken it outside and put it in the sandpit, but that's fine. So I thought, well, what else can I do? So I finished up getting the hammer and putting about 6 socks over the top of it.
Yeah.
And I put a bit of bubble wrap around the end of it and wrapped it all up with sticky tape first. Then I put a few socks over the top of it, and it kind of worked okay. It did all right. Adam says we could always get a bow and arrow and some blood and shoot Octo. Oh no, we can't do that. Why? We'd get distressed. No. Adam says we don't need to build shells. We can just use air tasker.
That's a very expensive way of building your shell.
And Adam's just saying that I've set Adam a challenge actually to build himself one. He has got some empty shelving at he's got some unbuilt shelving at his place, and he's going to need some new shelving very soon for his listed books because he has been listing. And so I've given him a challenge that by the end of the weekend he needs to have erected a new shelving unit.
Yes. I believe that was one of the challenges that was set for Adam. So hopefully he can get that done.
And now it's out there in the open, Adam.
Yeah. I mean, building shelves are fun. I quite enjoy it, to be quite honest.
Yes.
That you get to visualize what you want to put on there, which is the great part. And then, you build it, you put it together, and then you change it because you don't like it. You want to put it over here, you put it over there. What should be a 15-minute task ends up, with a person, something shiny over there kind of thing. Works
Look,
out.
and unless you're lining it up against an existing shelving unit and you want it to actually match that shelving unit, I always find inevitably I will put one of the shelves at the wrong height.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's just, about this system here is that it is modular. So, for example, this middle plate is, between the two. It does work for both of them. So, and, everything lines up. Because if it doesn't line up, then twitching eye kind of thing. So these are great to have now. I did go for the other ones that a lot of other people use, but because it wasn't modular and it wasn't tall enough, so these are a good 2.2 meters tall, so you can really put some stuff up there. So that's one of the advantages for that, because I do have high ceilings in here where I am. So yeah, it's one of the good things there.
Yeah, which I didn't go for those because I wouldn't be able to reach up high enough. Anyway, and I just not keen on climbing ladders.
They do have the 1.8s for this range, but I didn't find them to be tall enough, to be completely honest. It was
but you are tall, so
yeah, it's I can reach almost the top from just sitting down here. So.
How tall are you, Rob?
In old money or new money?
Oh, give us old.
6'3".
Yes, that's tall.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's one of the
back in the day. Well, I was never short back in the day. Like I was 5'5", which was not short for a female like when I was growing up. But like now, all the young ones just tower over me. It's very sad. Oh, officially Cookie, welcome.
Welcome.
Officially Cookie says, I live in a caravan, so my shelving is camping tables lined side by side in the patio area. Oh, very good. I mean, and then you could fold them up too.
Absolutely. Like, if you're in a unique sort of situation, you've got to be able to use the space that you have around you effectively and efficiently to be able to work properly. And, if it's in the patio area and it works and it fits, awesome. So,
yeah. Well, looks like it is. Time is up. Octo's telling us our time is up. He wants to go thrifting.
Yes, it is 2 minutes past or 3 minutes past. Oh, no, hang on.
It is. Yeah, 2 minutes and 51 seconds almost.
3 minutes past because I got my clock there as well. I can look at.
Exactly. So. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you all next week when we will continue on with our exciting things that we missed talking about today.
I know. He's very, very pushy, isn't he, buddy?